Bliss is the one. This is the way. This is the deck I'm most excited to show you today. If you haven't tuned out after that awful rhyme, thank you. What's good? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're jump-starting the Twilight Masquerade content. The set is quickly approaching. Temporal Forces was a very short format. For some, it felt a little longer, but don't worry, we're diving into the new cards. I've got a few decks lined up. Today, we are starting with Blissey EX. It's the one I've play tested the most. It's the one I'm most excited to pick up and play when the format begins. PTCG Live gets the set on Wednesday this coming week, so that's also very exciting. If you enjoy my content, be sure to let me know what I did right today. If you didn't like it, let me know in the comments below. If you want to change some cards in the list or think I missed something, let me know down below. I'm happy to hear it. I don't think this is the perfect 60, but this is where I'm starting with the format. So the first 4 cards we are playing is 4 copies of the 151 Chansey. It is 110 hit points, lucky bonus. If this Pokemon was taken as a face down prize card during your turn, you may play it onto your bench. If you did, flip a coin. If heads, you may take an additional prize card. So that 20 health sacrifice to give us the chance to take extra prizes in this deck, barely might I add, is very good. It's a win-win. Chansey is already a big, bulky Pokemon. It is not in that 60-70 victim range. 110 is nothing to scoff at, and it usually sees a turn or two unless it's the main target being focused down. And we are playing max counts of the brand new Blissey EX. Blissey EX is a 2-prize stage 1 Pokemon with 300 hit points. It is weak to fighting, but that's not really an issue at the moment. Happy switch. The ability though, once during your turn, you may move a basic energy from one of your Pokemon to another one of your Pokemon. We can shuffle energy around the board, we can reset attackers, you name it. And for 3 colorless energy, it does 180 damage. You may draw until you have 6 cards in hand. It is a reload, it is an energy mover. We're typically trying to heal, move damage, and we want to keep Blissey alive as long as possible, and there we have a few ways in the deck to do so. Doing so, we have the brand new Munkidori. So it's one of those loyal Pokemon from the DLC. Psychic Pokemon, 110 hit points. Again, we're not really worried about that, but the ability is the main reason it is included in the deck. Adrenaline power, probably translated to something else. Should be monkey business, but whatever. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon has a dark energy attached to it, you may move up to 3 damage counters from one of your Pokemon to one of your opponent's Pokemon. That right there is the strategy. Blissey will take damage. Blissey can move energy. Munkidori can fling damage back if it has energy on it. So we can move to a Munkidori or off a Munkidori with the Blissey. Very straightforward. We're going to keep that thing alive. We are the ultimate tank. We are incorporating a very small dark package. We need a free retreat Pokemon, more Pico. If this Pokemon has no energy attached, it has no retreat cost. It has 70 hit points, and for 2 dark energy, does 70 damage, and you may move 2 dark energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon. So we can attack and we can move things. It's mostly here for free retreat and some other dark utilization, but again, it's very good. 1 copy of Roaring Moon EX, 230 hit point basic Pokemon, frenzied gouging for a dark colorless. Your opponent's Pokemon is immediately knocked out. If you did this attack, take 200 self damage. Okay, that's an instant KO if we need to hit above the 180 weight class. Sometimes we just have to eliminate a threat immediately, otherwise we lose. And 2 dark and a colorless, 100. If there's a stadium in play, discard it. You do an additional 120. It's a dark Pokemon. It's an instant KO. It's our swing a little bit harder option. Roaring Moon is there to trade. Don't think you need a second one because you're more likely to start with it. But that is our entire Pokemon line. No Radiant Pokemon, no additional Pokemon. Our bench is primarily comprised of Chanseys and Munkidoris and Blisseys, and then with a hint of Roaring Moon or Morpeko. And as the cat's already out of the bag, we are playing Dark Energy as our basic energy of choice because it plays with the Munkidori and the Roaring Moon and the Morpeko. So we're playing 7 copies, and then we're playing 4 copies of the In the Pinch Double Turbo. The Double Turbo just counts for 2 energy, so meaning we're less reliant on getting 3 attachments, but we do 20 less damage. So we don't want to lean on it too heavily, but we do have enough basics in the deck to see them frequently enough, and double turbo if we're ever in a pinch. You can't move them with Blissey, but they're still very good. Item card. 4 copies of Nest Ball. Unfortunately, our Pokemon are too big for Buddy Poffin. We can search for any basic reveal and put it onto our bench. 4 Ultra Ball. Discard any 2 cards from your hand, search for a Pokemon, reveal it, put it into your hand. Not bad, not bad. 2 copies of Pokegear. Look at the top 7 cards of your deck, reveal any supporters you find there, and put one of them into your hand. Just helps us dig a little deeper. 2 copies of Earthen Vessel. Finding the dark energy is crucial. So you may play this if you discarded another card from your hand. Search for 2 basic energy cards, reveal them, and put them into your hand. Plucking them out of the deck because they don't do us any favors in the deck. 2 Dark Patch. So this one is mostly for the Morpeko and the Roaring Moon. If they deny our attachment for turn, we are in a bit of a pinch. There's no Raihan to save us. There's no other Melanies or Welders or any of those accelerations in the deck. So we need to get at least one manual attachment and something else, or two manual attachments over 2 turns. Dark Patches are contingency plan, worst case scenario. I see a few lists not trying anything. I think you're missing out, and it makes your deck very predictable. 2 copies of Switch. We do like to move things around. We have 1 pivot, but you know, never hurts to have an extra one. And then of course, the last of our items, we play 1 copy of Pal Pad. We play quite a few useful supporters and a couple situational. 1 counter catcher. As we'll be playing a particular supporter, we do still need a gust option in the deck, so you can only play it if you're losing. They'll race ahead early. We will climb back using cards like this and Iono. So switch one of your opponent's benched with their active, and 1 super odd. If they target down 1 too many Chansey early, or they focus on the Munkidori, our strategy is very difficult to execute. So it's nice to have ways to recover, or an Ultra Ball and you're in a bad spot. You do have to make tough choices every once in a while. Super odd is just kind of playing it safe. If you don't like it, cut it by all means. And then of course, we are playing a couple tools in the deck. 1 copy of Hero's Cape. This will give any of our Pokemon an additional 100 hit points. It is our A-Spec of choice. I'm going with this because we're trying to keep Blissey alive. We're playing 2 copies of Technical Machine Turbo Energize. You don't know what this one does, don't fret. It has not seen much play prior to now, so I don't blame you. The Pokemon this card is attached to may use this attack. You still need the necessary energy. At the end of the turn, discard this card. Search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards, attach them to your bench Pokemon in any way you like. See, we're really ensuring that we get at least 1 energy on the board, whether we go first, whether we go second, because it's like an Arceus deck. If you miss that first attachment, you are in a lot of trouble. 2 copies of Artisan lets you search for a Pokemon without a rule box, place it onto your bench, a basic Pokemon. Would you look at that? Everything outside of Roaring Moon and Blissey are basic Pokemon without a rule box. We can search those rather well. It's like having a 5th and 6th copy of Nest Ball. Unlike the Torterra video we covered last set, we're not necessarily screwed being unable to play Buddy Poffin. Might do us a favor or two keeping up with the new menace of the format. And we saved the best for last. We are playing a very tried and true vanilla cookie cutter starting point with our supporter backbone. 4 copies of Arven. Arven just lets us find an item card and a Pokemon tool. Tools, items, depending on what you're missing, depending on what you need. It's good early, it's good late, so we're playing 4 of it. And then we're playing 4 copies of Iono. And I know people will say, well, why are you playing 4? Each player shuffles their hand, puts it at the bottom of the deck, and then draws a card for each of their remaining prize cards. So we're doing this because Iono normally would punish us as we take prizes. With Blissey being our main attacker, we can reload our hand to 6, regardless of how many cards we have in hand. Yes, it sucks, but just make sure to play Iono as the last of action through your turn. You'll be fine. Iono is very good. Hand Disruption, I feel, will be very, very good in Twilight Masquerade, and decks being unable to dig out of that will certainly crumble, and that's all we're aiming for. 3 copies of Sharon's Care. You may pick up a damaged, colorless Pokemon and all cards attached and put them back into your hand. So if Blissey takes a hit that's too big for Munkidori to fling off, we're just going to pick it up, put all the cards back, reset our Pokemon, re-evolve the Blissey, reattach the energy and the tool and whatnot, and say, do it again. And you do it again. Some decks can, some decks can't, and the ones that can't will quickly fold to us. Even the new powerhouse of the format, Dragapult EX, struggles into Blissey if you get a couple Blissey on board, and just once in a blue moon, drawn to a Sharon's Care. It's a very good deck. Now, what is card number 60, you ask? Was it a second counter catcher? Was it a 4th copy of Sharon's Care to complete the 444? Not necessarily. We're leaning towards a little bit of aggression in the early stages. I will come back to this and drop a comment on what it ends up becoming in the end. And the 60th card in the deck will be none other than Boss's Orders. Switch your opponent's active with one of their benched Pokemon. So Counter Catcher is the go-to, and it is much more reliable in this deck as we are playing a lot of Sharon's, Ionos, or Arvens. But Boss comes up every once in a while where you just need to gun something down. Maybe they play 1 Dreepy, 1 Charmander, something you can really put your foot on them and just not ease up. I do think Boss is terrific for that, and being able to recycle it with Pal Pad gives you a chance to reuse it a second time. This is the 60 I'm starting with when it drops on TCG Live. I'm so excited. There's a few cards I considered. Lost Vacuum. I considered the Unfair Stamp. Prime Catcher. Still overpriced. What is that mystery box? I've considered a few different A-Specs. Hero's Cape, just a flat 400. Dare them to have the Lost Vacuum. If they don't have the Lost Vacuum exactly when they need it, it will stick around. If not, 300 is nothing to scoff at from a base point. Hero's Cape on a Chansey, they try to Dragapult, and then I could go on all the lines, but basically this feels really good into Dragapult as long as you get set up. You're just very big, you're very thick. Munkidori flings damage back, so those 6 damage counters don't really add up. And Dark Patch, Roaring Moon, Morpeko, they all give you an extra gear that I'm not seeing in other lists. So give it a whirl. Let me know what you think. Keep an eye out. I've got more videos coming on the channel. And until next time, guys, take care and have fun.